Life is precious, and we all have the opportunity of living it to the fullest. Unfortunately, so few of us know how to manage it all. How do we account for our opportunities? How do we account for our time? How do we account for our relationships, health, spirituality, homes, finances, influence, and careers? How do we account for the one life we have to live? I am so glad you asked. In this program, you will find answers to all of these questions and more. Welcome to the Account for Your Life podcast with your host, the healthy accountant himself, Jay Moore.
What's happening? I want to welcome you back to another episode of the Account for Your Life podcast. And today, I don't know that I've just spoken on this topic, but I'm going to speak on it just because we're at 802 episodes. So what is Account for Your Life? And I think we're going to do just a quick series on Account for Your Life, kind of like what is Account for Your Life, why you should account for your life, how Account for Your Life showed up, what does Account for Your Life do for you. I think we're going to do a few of these just as I'm, just kind of getting myself geared up for this next level of what Account for Your Life really is. So what is Account for Your Life? And I can say, well, how the heck did I get? Now, the thing, and I'll jump right into this, the thing about how God works in our life and gives us gifts and gives us access. He gives us access to the things that he already knows about us. And he shows us things about us that we've been walking around with the whole time. We just wasn't under the right awareness of what this thing is. And so when I look back on kind of like, my personal journey, and I would say my accounting journey, just getting into the mindset of even going into this area that would lead up to Account for Your Life was, my senior year of high school. And I decided to take a class. I take a class in accounting. I liked it. I like business. And I go to school and you move into accounting. Now, here's the interesting part, right? Because we've all been gifted with things that most of us aren't aware of. We see people who have the external gifts. We see people who can play, instruments and sing, and they can act, and they can do, and they can paint, and they can design, and they can do all these different types of things with their hands. But what about the people who can do things with their minds? What about the people who can do things with their mind? They have a mind gift. Listen, come on now. A mind gift. Think about a mind gift. God's given everybody a mind gift, but a lot of times the mind gift doesn't show up first. Why? Because the mind gift comes with a lot of repetition. Mind gifts comes with a lot of repetition. When you look at most really successful people, what happens is they do just look at a professional athlete, basketball. They do the basketball thing so long, then all of a sudden they can see things with their mind that enables them to be even better. So our mind gift is one of these things that was given to us from the very beginning. And so what if we learn how to use our minds? That's another story for another podcast. So we didn't know how to use our minds, but the mind gift is what God really wants to release to us. God's like, man, if they would just use their minds, if they would just use what I gave them. Everyone's focused on the external gifts. Everyone's focused on what's on the outside. So I went to a scripture, and in the scripture, and this is all helping us to understand what Account for Your Life is, and maybe how I got it. Romans chapter 14 and verse 10. I'm going to start there. I'm going to read to verse 12. You then, why do you judge your brother or sister? Or why do you treat them with contempt? For we will all stand before God's judgment seat, because it is written, as surely as I live, says the Lord, every knee will bow before me. Every tongue will acknowledge God. So then, each of us will give an account of ourselves to God. Each of us will give an account for ourselves to God. Now let's look at the meaning of account. What does this mean? Here's what it means. Now in bookkeeping, An account refers to assets, liabilities, income, expenses, and equity as represented by individual ledger accounts and ledger pages in which changes in value are chronologically recorded as debits and credits. These entries, referred to as postings, become part of a book of final entry or ledger. That is what an account is. So I want you to think about this. There's a posting going in on your account every day. Every day we're posting to our account. Every day we're posting something to the account. Whether we like it or not, something's on the record. And because something's on the record, it takes a mind to then say, wait a second, what's in my record? And how do I know what's in my record? We're getting there. What does account for your life? Also, what is an account? Okay, if we look at the other, what an account is a record or statement of financial expenditure and receipts for a particular purpose. An account. What about $1 million account? A $10 million account? Everyone wants $1 million account, multi-million, billions, or whatever. We can just go wherever numbers we want. Everyone wants that. So we've got a couple different things here. God says we're going to give an account for what goes in the record. If we're just looking at straight bookkeeping is just something's going, whatever's going in, we're just going to keep track of it. It's either going to be good or bad, because debits or credits, depending on what type of account it is good or bad. It's a plus or a minus. So are we putting in pluses or minuses, right? And then what do I really want in life? Man, if I just had a bigger bank account, right? A lot of times most people say, man, if my bank account was bigger. Man, if I had, see, here's the thing. Some people say, man, it's not about the money. Well, it's not, right? Here's the thing. What if you had more of it? What if you had more of it to do what you want with it? So we need to have a large financial account. But here's the thing. Without the mind gift, right? Without the mind gift, then here's what we're going to miss. We're going to miss the management of that account, because then you may just be pulling out of the account, right? You're pulling out of the account. We're going to get to account for life in just a second. We're going to be pulling out of the account, but not depositing into the account. Why? Well, okay, I got the millions in there. One of the things I was thinking about this morning, okay, when this thing happens in our business and in our finances, when it happens, one of the first things I said to myself, well, when it comes in, there has to be another multiplying effect. Think about this. When the parable of the talents was talked about by Jesus, what's interesting about this parable is that we all sit in the parable. This is account for your life right there. This not saying it, but it says you better account for what I give you, and you better come back with more. So do not come back with less. Do not come back with the same amount. So if we think we're going to show up the same person that God's like, what are you talking about? Now, here's the thing. The gift that God gives us in salvation is free. So we can't pay for that. Once we come under the awareness of who God is in our life, then that's where we really have to account for life. See, if you're not under the awareness that you should account for your life, you are not even judged accordingly. You are only judged based on what you know. That's just me paraphrasing. I mean, just based on what I understand about the kingdom, you can only be judged based on what you know, right? If you don't know something, God can't judge you on that. At least that's my perspective. So here it is. We come under the awareness, like you're coming under awareness today. You're coming under awareness of this account for your life method, or this account for life thing. And YJ has been, account for your life every single day, because there's a debit and a credit going in every day. There's a record going in every day. No matter what it is, there's a record of what we eat. There's a record of what we say. There's a record of what we think. There's a record of where we go. There's a record of everything that we do every single day. But here's the thing. Are we keeping up with it? Now, I'll be honest. I'm not sitting here tracking everything I do. I'm being more aware of it. So that yesterday when I talked on the podcast, I talked about truth, and I talked about how, if there's anything missing in our life or anything that we desire, then it's just the truth that we don't know. There's a truth, there's an awareness of truth that's absent. See, because truth can't change. And so since truth can't change, then what that says is that if truth can't change, then truth gets the same result over and over. That's called principles. Principles always get the same result. What's a principle? Gravity. Gravity is a principle, right? If you jump off of a building, you have to come down. And it's not like, well, I'm a good person. Doesn't matter. Principles won't change just because we're good. Principles won't change just because you're bad. Principles say this is what it is and this is how it's going to happen. So if you jump off the building, you get what you get, whether you was a good person or a bad person. So when we apply principles, which are the truth about something in our life, and then we say, wow, that worked. Here's a principle for you that I'm applying today. And it's weird. I've been eating a lot of meat lately. I probably need to chronicle this really, where this is what I'm eating. Like yesterday, I went to a barbecue place. All I got was brisket. I got 2 orders of brisket. That probably could be considered maybe almost 2 pounds. That was my dinner. I ate, it probably wasn't 2 pounds, but it could have been close. Just the meat. They gave me cornbread, throw it out. And here's the principle. Drink a protein shake because I needed something to fill up, to make sure I was nice and full, so I didn't want anything else. See, here's the thing. The principles are interesting because when I'm looking around, I'm like, wow, this is interesting, right? When it comes to, and we're going to talk about diet real quick, and then I'm going to get off just a second. I'm almost to what Account for Life is. The thing about diet is that it's so subjective. Now, I've been following this guy on YouTube, Dr. Stan somebody. And he does a lot of experiments with food and how it responds in the body. He does it on himself, not with other people. He does this stuff on himself. And so he did one where for 10 days straight, all he ate was 2 pounds of hamburgers. All he ate was 2 pounds of meat every single day. Only thing he added with it was maybe olive. He had maybe he ate little salads with it. But mainly he was getting filled up on meat. And it was just like all his numbers were better. Now he was already in shape, but he was just like his numbers when he just ate all meat. And then there was another one he did. All he ate was eggs. He ate bacon, eggs, and butter for a month or 10 days or whatever. And his numbers got better. Like, what? How could your numbers get better? Okay, that's a good question. See, the truth is everything, guys. And what we don't know is that we're supposed to eat more fat. We're supposed to eat more fat than anything. What? That doesn't make any sense. So it's not that you're just eating a lot of protein. You got to eat the fat. You have to have fat. Why? Because fat is what burns in your body. See, everybody that's trying to lose weight, they're trying to burn fat, but they can't burn fat. Why can't they burn fat? Because your body has so much sugar in it. And so what happens is it has to burn the sugar off first. But if you keep putting sugar in or things that turn to sugar, all carbohydrates turn to sugar. And if they turn to sugar and then the sugar turns to fat, then what happens is you're in a never-ending cycle of fighting the sugar battle. So, but then the opposite is if you eat more fat, you actually burn fat. Think about it. It makes sense. I eat fat, I burn fat. I eat sugar, I burn sugar, but sugar turns to fat. Fat tends to burn. Wow, that's a principle. Here's the thing. It's a principle, but it's an absent principle, meaning that truth that's available right there, most people won't get it. Now, I'm not saying that. Now, here's what the doc said. The doctor said this. He says, okay, it's not that meat is bad, and it's not that just vegetables is bad. Here's the thing. There's things that you can't add with those things. And if you just eat all whole foods and all of it was vegetables and fruit, you'll be good to go. If you ate all whole foods and everything was meat, you're good to go. But when you start adding in things where it affects the principles, then all of a sudden, or it doesn't give you the result that you're looking for, then it's like, oh wow, I'm just gaining weight. Oh, things are not working for me. Well, now what does account for your life, and what does that have to do with it? See, when you account for your life, you study. You're constantly looking. You're constantly like, hey, I want to make sure I'm on the right principle. And when you find the principle, then you just go in and you go in. But here's the thing. Account for your life, right? God said that God says that everything is in a record. God literally keeps track of this stuff. Now, here's the thing. When you come into the kingdom, then the kingdom will disregard everything in your past. Get rid of everything in your past. So when we're thinking about what account for your life is be aware. Be aware of truth. Be aware of what you're doing that's absent from truth. So that when you see, man, something's not working, that means truth is not involved. I think I bought like maybe 4 or 5 books in the past couple of, maybe 2 weeks. And I've been getting through them pretty fast. It's like, because I realized I really like to read because I want to know the truth. I like to read the Bible because I like the truth. And so I like to take the truth of what's in the Bible and then find people who have the truth in their life. So for me, in what account for your life is a daily regimen. It's a daily regimen of knowing that you can get better from yesterday. That's what account for your life is. Yesterday I was that way, but today I can be a little bit better. And there's something I'm working on, and I'll share with you. I used to get up really early. I used to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, sometimes 3:30, and I stopped. And I'll be honest, I stopped because I felt like it wasn't doing what I'd like it to do. And when I thought about it this morning, because I wake up at 4 o'clock almost every morning, I just go back. I wake up and then I toss, go to sleep for a little while long, then I'm up at like 6. But I was asking, well, why haven't I really applied that really to just say, why do I want to get up at 4? Why? Because that gives time. I get to use time. I get to use time for the principle of what time is. That means I can connect higher earlier. But I was asking myself, well, why would I do that? What is it that I can start doing at 4 o'clock in the morning where it will yield the result that the truth would like, or when I look back in the record of me using this account for life formula, and I say to myself, it was worth it. But there was times when I got up when I can say it wasn't worth it. Man, I wish I would have gotten more accomplished. But you know what? That's where there's account for your life. You're constantly looking. Now, here's the thing. You get to be the judge of yourself. So you're constantly looking at, what am I doing? I almost did the podcast with my shirt off this morning. Almost. Jenny may not have liked that. Almost did. I said, I should probably start. And this is just, hey man, not because I want to show something is happening in my life. I go to the gym all the time, and I've noticed something since I implemented a new regimen. I'm building more muscle. But here's the thing. I only know that because I'm using the account for your life method on myself every single day. So account for your life is looking at what you did yesterday and doing something better or different today. That's what account for your life is. And Jenny says that would be too much. I knew you would say that. That's why I didn't do it. And I didn't want you to get mad at me. So look, account for your life. Account for your life. It's not about me telling you how to account for your life. It's about you telling you what are the principles that will guide me so that I can account for my life. Those principles are the truth about whatever it is that you're looking to accomplish. You must find the truth. You must know what that is. And if you know what it is, then you can account for your life. So that's what account for your life is, guys. And tomorrow, I think I'm going to do why you should account for your life. Guys, I appreciate you for joining me for this episode of the Account for Life podcast. Jay Moore, the Healthy Accountant, helping you to account for your life. God bless. I'll see you on the next episode. Peace.
Thanks for joining us, listening friends. We are so glad you invested this time with us. Always remember, you only have one life to live, so live it to the fullest. This has been the Account for Your Life podcast with your host, the healthy accountant himself, Jay Moore. Until next time, make it a great day.